Hello everyone, my name is Blue Star Ubu. You might know me from such hit forms of media as twitch.tv/bluestar_ubu, or that one time an online gaming article place used one of my opinions on Twitter in their article without letting me know. However, I'm guessing if you're here, you probably know me from Movie Grits, the film commentary podcast that I do every week with my good friend and co-host Aspen Birchtree. Unfortunately, this week is an exception. However, I am here, and I have taken it upon myself to deliver a very important message from Aspen herself to you. This message, of course, as we all know, is the importance of what is easily the defining and most inspirational part of Aspen's life. I asked her, Aspen, what inspires you the most? I need to tell the fans in the stead of Movie Grits. Let's let them know. Give them a look into the inside, into the mind of a genius. And what she sent me will shock you. What she sent me was this. Now, you might be asking yourself, Ubu, what is this? What are you, 4? This is obviously a picture of Nicolas Cage in the hit movie Con Air. A little known fact, Con Air was the first movie not to be in black and white. Kind of funny to think about. They decided to still give Nicolas Cage a gray shirt, but I suppose you know what they say, old habits die hard. They could have given him, neon clothes and put him in, the middle of Planet Booger or whatever it's called from Shark Boy and Lava Girl, but rather, they gave him brown clothes, brown hair, brown head, but that's not black and white, so I guess technically they're still abiding by their contract to make the first in-color movie. And it was a hit. It was a smashing success. This was Nicolas Cage's debut role, and he knocked it out of the park so flipping hard that he would go on to star in actual millions of movies for the decades to come. One such viewer and fan of Con Air is none other than Stephen King, who saw this movie at the ripe old age of 25, probably. He was so inspired by this movie that he used Nicolas Cage's look from the movie as the inspiration for the character Pennywise the Clown. I'm sure when he went to this movie and decided that it would be a good idea to make Nicolas Cage and clown makeup be the antagonist of his book. I'm sure he was completely sober. He probably hadn't done any sort of illicit drugs. I don't know the guy. I'm sure he's been sober his whole life. But that's just how it happened. I'm just here to tell you the facts, folks. Another little known fact about this movie is it's actually a live-action adaptation of The Simpsons. A lot of people, just because of, through all the hustle and bustle and the bells and whistles, a lot of people miss the fact that this isn't just, Billy Con Air. That's actually the name that they gave to... It's a code name for Marge Simpson, which explains why, despite being in live action and not being yellow and having blue hair, it's a gritty reboot. So that's why it still looks like her without looking like her. Does that make any sense? It better make any sense, because that is easily Aspen's favorite part of this picture. Because Aspen, all the time, honestly, it's annoying. Aspen will always say, Ubu, my favorite character in all of cinema is Marge Simpson, which by extension means my favorite character in live-action cinema is, what did I call him? Billy Con Air from Con Air. And I say, Aspen, this is the 87th time you told me this. Please I beg of you, shut up. Shut up. Now, after the filming of Con Air, Nicolas Cage would go on to buy a bird. He was just so... He had such a close bond with the bird that sat on his head for the entire movie that he asked the film executives if he could purchase the bird from them. Unfortunately, the bird was under contract to sit on at least 5 other people's heads, which, by the time filming for all of those movies was done, the bird would probably be dead. Not necessarily from old age, but probably from exhaustion. So, Nicolas Cage went out and bought a bird of his own. The bird that sat on his head throughout the filming of Con Air was actually an African cardinal, but Nicolas Cage couldn't find one because they are actually an endangered species. One of the last few recorded members of the African cardinal species is actually the bird that was sitting on Nicolas Cage's head through the filming of Con Air. So, he settled on an African gray, which is still from Africa, presumably, and, you know, is named after a color. When people think cardinals, they think red. That's a color, too. So I understand the thought process that went into this. He wanted a very cool name for his pet bird, and so he settled on albacore, which sounds awesome. Keyword being sounds, because as we all know, that's a type of tuna. It's really not that cool, but it does sound awesome. Nicolas Cage and albacore, the African gray, had a strong bond, almost as strong as the bond Nicolas Cage had with the bird that sat on his head or his own wife. But, alas, all good things must come to an end. And Nicolas Cage, one day in 2008, took albacore, the African gray, to the park and abandoned him there. Sources say it was because Nicolas Cage was tired of being bitten on the head all the time. Others say he just couldn't afford food because he'd bought his 18th fossil. But I think he just forgot. But no matter what your theory on the subject is, Nicolas Cage left albacore behind. And when he, over the course of the next 3 to 7 months, whenever Nicolas Cage would reflect on what he had done to albacore, I left my bird behind. My bird was left behind. He did that for months, until one day he decided, I'm going to star in the hit Christian film Left Behind and play the role of Raymond Steele, esteemed pilot who gets left behind. Everyone knows and loves that movie, and if you don't believe it's real, you are more than welcome to look it up. Okay, I hope that you have enjoyed this, ladies and gentlemen. Aspen, like I said, she's predisposed. I don't know what she's doing. Maybe just looking at herself in the mirror. I really don't know, and I really don't care. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. Next week, things will be back to normal. Yeah, but until then, have a happy day.